All right, let's start. I'm so excited. Okay. All right, well, welcome. I'm excited to have my friend here, Kristi Balzer. Yes?
Yes, thanks, Mel.
And she's a big deal here, everyone. She's the executive director for a wonderful nonprofit that I love and support called Rock and Roll Camp for Girls.
Yep, that's right.
And before you talk about how wonderful it is and what you guys do, I would love to tell our listeners today, which is perfect, we'll be talking about the misheard lyric from the song by Queen, We Will Rock You.
Awesome.
There's a theme here. Now, the correct lyric is kicking your can all over the place.
Okay.
But I've always heard it as a child, even as an adult, and I think I sang it this way, is kicking your cat all over the place. Which is like, oh, man.
That's really mean.
And I have cats. It's like, oh, but there are some days where you do want to kick your cat.
I think so, yeah.
So, Kristi, explain to our listeners how we met.
Oh, that's such a fun story. Okay, so at Rock and Roll Camp for Girls, one of the things that we like to do is have what we call friend raisers, which is events that we have where we just want our community to come and have a really good time.
Yeah.
Which you are totally know about. So the friend raiser that we met at was our very first karaoke contest, and that was 3-4 years ago now,
yes.
I think.
And the original time you had it actually was a different date, like in February, but we had the ice.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
We got that. It was a terrible snowstorm that year, and so we had to change the date because we didn't want our volunteers to have to come out in the snow, so we had to move it down. Anyway, it was the first time we'd ever done that contest. We really had no idea what to expect from people, but oh my gosh, did everybody just bring their A game to that contest,
yes.
including yourself. People came in costumes,
yes.
people had choreography,
yes.
People brought the best songs, and we just had the most fun. And so you were wearing a dress that was yellow with like hot dogs on it or something.
Pretty close. Tacos.
There we go.
Pretty close. There was food.
Yeah.
And then I was amazed because you guys had different categories, like crowd favorite or judge favorite.
Yep.
Right? What were the categories? One
one
best
of them
theatrical.
is like most dramatic.
Yes.
One of them is crowd pleaser.
Yeah.
And one of them is like most bedazzled,
yes.
right? So somebody with the best costume or whatever.
Yes.
The whole point is like none of it has anything to do with singing ability, right? Like it's
yes.
not a singing contest;
yes.
it's a karaoke contest.
Yes.
Come and bring your most outrageous self. And people really did.
Oh my God.
And they continue to. I mean, you came the next year in the Domo costume, and nobody even knew who you were until you got out of your costume. It was hilarious, and as usual, also blew everyone away with your singing.
You're so kind.
So, which we love. And now I'm just super excited because we've become friends
yes.
and go out and sing karaoke together, which I think is super special.
Well, and I have to tell you, listeners, karaoke makes the world go round because I have another subset of karaoke friends that now you are all part of with Maynard, and he's in the episodes kind of coming up. But it's a wonderful grouping of people because most of us just will clap. I mean, first of all, I clap for anyone that goes on stage.
Absolutely.
It's hard to do, and you could have the worst voice, but hey, you're up there.
That's right.
But one thing I love about Rock and Roll Camp for Girls is the love. Like you said, you don't have to be the best singer. Are you bringing it on stage? But your judges every year have been good, and your judge, the two at least that always keep coming back are, who are they?
They are Carla Rossi, who's Portland's premier drag clown, who we love. And then Alex Simon, who's like the bedazzling queen of Portland.
Yes.
And she's come every year, and she's like the Paula Abdul of the judges.
Yes, she is.
Super bubbly and happy and wants to compliment everyone. Yes. And Carla's always a little more snarky. Like, she'll give a good compliment, but then she'll also like give you a little shade too.
Yeah.
And then this last year we had Lulu Luscious.
Yes.
Who is also a drag queen in Portland, who is like, what does she call herself? The something fun. She's like the ambassador of fun.
We gotta love that.
And so then we had dueling drag queens.
Yes.
Last year, which hopefully we'll have again this year.
We will.
They were really fun, and it just the event keeps growing and getting bigger, and people keep becoming more elaborate. And right, like last year our friend Emily she had stage hands and props and like the whole thing and the wig, and anyway, it just is such a fun time. So we really,
you guys do it up really well.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So can you share with the listeners? We have these great karaoke contest, money is raised, what happens? What goes to that?
So all the money we raise throughout the year goes towards tuition assistance for our summer camp campers.
Okay.
So in the summer, we provide 4 weeks of summer camp for kids ages 9 to 17. And our demographic are girls, and then transgender kids, regardless of identity, and non-binary, non-conforming youth. And one of our core beliefs is that every kid who wants to come to rock camp should get to.
Absolutely.
And like money should never be a barrier. Mm-hmm. So we raise funds all year long so that every camper who presents a need, who applies for assistance, receives some level of assistance. And in most cases, they receive like 80 to 100% of their requested assistance. So those fundraisers are really important because it helps contribute to that, but it's also really important for building our community and building a community of just really supportive people here in Portland that are all part of the Rock Camp family, which I really love. So. And
I've always heard of you guys from afar and did not know about this. Literally, it was Alicia from episode 2, Cross-Eyed Bear Lady. The first one in 2017.
The first karaoke
or
contest?
No, 2018 karaoke contest. I can't remember. I think it's 2018. Yes, where she said, "Hey, you should go to this." I would have not known about it if it wasn't for her to tell me about it. So thanks again, Alicia. And it's been a great partner. I mean, I love to give money to it, and I think I've told you, Kristi, before. It's like, God, I wish I had that when I was growing up as a kid. But if you're an adult, what can you do? There's also a rock. Yes.
So we have a program called Liberation Rock Camp.
Yes.
And that is for adults, 21 and over, same population. So women and trans gender, regardless of identity, can come to that program. Okay. It's about a weekend, so it's basically you do everything that the campers during summer camp do. You just do it in a really condensed time frame.
Oh, nice.
So it's a very intense, can be a pretty significantly bonding experience with your band, but you are going to learn an instrument, form a band, write a song, and then perform live in basically 2.5 days. And you don't have to have any experience at all with music. Okay. You can have never played an instrument before. You don't have to have your own instrument. We provide all of that. And it's awesome. And the next one is in November. Okay. But it's already sold out.
Wow. Which is a great problem to have.
It is a great problem to have.
Yeah. Oh my God.
So we'll do it again next November or around that time. So people should put it on their calendar.
Okay.
For it to come to Liberation Rock Camp.
Now something is coming up in October that I know.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we have the AMP Awards coming up in October.
AMP Awards.
AMP. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And because we put the AMP in camp.
Of course.
And so the AMP Awards is our biggest fundraiser of the year. It's a rock show this year at the auditorium.
Oh my gosh.
And so we'll have, we have 3 live performances from local musicians who are all connected to camp in one way or another.
Okay.
And then at the end, we have an after party with Staph Infection, which is our...
I love the play on words. Oh, gosh.
They're our house live karaoke band.
Okay, cool.
So during the live auction portion of the event, you will get to bid on an opportunity to sing with Staph Infection.
Smart.
And they have, I think they're doing 5 songs this year.
I love it.
Yeah. So it's a really fun event. It's at the auditorium. We'll have great food by Devil's Food Catering. Okay. It's an open bar during the main event. There's a VIP pre-party in the wine bar that's part of the space. And it's a really cool space. It's actually, the auditorium is the Dandy Warhol's practice and recording studio.
Very cool.
And then Courtney Taylor, who is a member of the band, he owns the wine bar in the front. So during the VIP hour, we'll have live music by the Rachel Brashear Trio.
Oh, nice.
Rachel's one of our volunteers and plays all over town. She's an amazing musician. We'll have appetizers. You can purchase wine at the bar. Okay. And Courtney has a very special selection of wine at the bar. And then we're going to have a special live auction item just for the VIP signed guitar by the Dandy Warhols.
Oh my God. So I told you Kristi is kind of a big deal. And obviously this is really cool. So I think I told you I won't be there because I'll be in my numerous Spartan races cheering my husband on.
Yes.
But I'll be giving money. I'll also include the link to that event as well as the link to your great cause on the show notes. So guys, click on it and help one way you can.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, let's start talking about We Will Rock You.
Okay.
So like I said, for years I thought it was about kicking your cat all over the place. It is not.
Oh.
Did you hear that too? Did you think, or did you know it was Can? You must have known Can.
I can't say that I knew that it was Can. I think that there's definitely a possibility that I thought it was Cat at one point as well. But I also will say that Queen lyrics, I feel like I get all of them wrong all the time,
Agreed.
right? Like, I'm sure that I have so many of them misheard.
Well, I love Queen. I don't know if you guys have seen the 2018 movie that came out, Bohemian Rhapsody.
I did, yeah.
I cried when I actually went on my. So it was one of those days where like, I'm gonna have my own misheard day, and I took the day off. I went and watched it and cried, by myself in there because my whole thing was he was so, and I'm talking about the lead singer Freddie Mercury, that he couldn't live his authentic self for many years until almost his death.
Yeah.
And that made me sad. But I kept thinking, God, if he was still alive now, what other music we'd be hearing?
Yeah.
Right?
Of course. Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, he was a prolific artist. So,
yeah,
I think they would have just continued to
yeah,
create new music for sure.
Oh, my God.
I mean, there's a lot of other artists from his era that are still, we were very fortunate to have still creating music today. So, yeah, I'm sure that he would have continued, and what a blessing he was to the music world.
Well, the interesting thing about it is, so Rami, I'm saying maybe Rami,
yeah,
Malek. I don't know how to pronounce. He was Freddie Mercury. I mean, I did not see like, oh, it's a guy playing Freddie Mercury, but he was amazing. He won an Oscar for it.
Yeah, I thought he did a really good job embodying Freddie Mercury in that movie.
He was
well cast.
Well, and I watched the actual thing on YouTube when the actual Live Aid where he performed, and it was line by line. I think he studied it, and if you put it side by side, he was him. I mean, he studied every quirk of him, which is amazing.
That's very impressive.
But the interesting thing is, let's start with our first fun fact. So did you know when the movie was in talk for development back in 2010 that he wasn't the first that they actually wanted for that part?
No.
Do you know who it was that they wanted? They actually had the Borat actor, Sacha Baron Cohen. Written on for it. He was on. They hired him, and lucky for Rami, unfortunately for Sacha, he left, I guess in 2013, so 3 years later after the announcement, 2010, with some creative differences with the producers. So we don't know what that is, but according to Wikipedia, that's what happened.
That's interesting.
And it kind of languished for several years until 2016 of November is when Rami Malek got the part.
Was cast.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, I mean, I don't even think he was really on the scene until that movie at all. Like, he kind of came out of nowhere.
He was in a show called iRobot. I heard about it, didn't know anything about it, but they're like, he's amazing. And then after that, you're right, it was like a trajectory.
Yeah. That's amazing.
So
it's interesting because I just recently heard an interview with Sacha Baron Cohen.
Okay.
And I guess I'm not super surprised by that happening. He's really concerned about not being famous and about not being someone who's recognizable out in the world, because part of his whole comedic shtick,
he kind of comes in as a ninja, and he doesn't want anyone to recognize him.
And that people don't recognize him, so he can get away with all kinds of really crazy stuff.
That's a good point.
So I wonder if maybe he got the sense that the movie was going to become really, really big.
Yeah.
And that it would sort of throw off his game of being incognito.
That's a great point of view. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
And you're right. It would have probably, I don't know, brought him to that same trajectory that he did. And he's really famous. He is. And Rami was kind of famous. I mean, like, not, but after that movie, it was just, that's it. Game over.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now I think it'll be interesting to see what Malek does next. Like, what will be his next role, and, how he'll navigate that sort of, like, typecast. It's so easy to get typecast as, like, the character actor or what have you. So
that's true.
It'll be interesting to watch his
Thank you for sharing that, because I did not know about that. I mean, that's a great point of what Sacha Baron Cohen is all about.
Yeah, I just happened to catch that interview on NPR, of course.
Well, it's perfect. You shared it here. Well, and then the other thing about it is, okay, so you guys know with We Will Rock You, it has that wonderful, like, stomp, stomp, clap. Mm-hmm. Stomp, stomp, clap. So, according to Wikipedia, the song was written by guitarist Brian May, who, by the way, the actor that plays him in the movie looks just like him.
Really?
Again, crazy. If you guys just Google it and just find, the cast and put them together. I thought I was looking at Brian May. Amazing. But he wanted to write a song that would have some kind of crowd participation, because he was learning going through a lot of, the football or soccer games in England, which is very big here as well in our town, and with the Timbers, that the crowd is wanting some kind of song they can be a part of. So that's where that stomp, stomp, clap idea came. And apparently from that, the other song, so this is We Are the World, there was this second song called We Are the Champions. Oh, no, We Will Rock You, but We Are the Champions. Right. It was such a great kind of fusing the song that they ended up always playing them together. Oh. So I remember as a young kid, this came out in 1977, mind you, I was a mere 5 years old, teeny, but they kept playing in the 80s. They would, if you listen to now, they will always play those songs almost together. So they'll do the We Will Rock You. Event just running. So it's a great example of what they do. They put those songs together. Sure. So what they had said in this, I guess, the research that I've seen is that Rolling Stones ranked it number 330 out of the 500 greatest songs of all time in 2004. I mean, oh yeah, we'll see what it looks like in 2020. If they relook at it again. But it is a song that everyone knows. Oh, totally. I would have thought it would have been higher up on the list. I would too. So I'm kind of curious what the top 10 are. So I'll have to look that up. Yes, that would be interesting to know. What's the number one song out of the 500 most? What is it? The most memorable? The 500 greatest songs of all time. What is number one? Who knows? Okay, we need it. Well, we'll look it up, and we'll look it up, and I'll add it in the episode. And then in 2009, so about 10 years ago, God, time is flying. Yeah. We Will Rock You was inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame. Ah, okay. But it took a long time, 1977, right? Mm-hmm. But here's the fun fact number 2. What I said: when performed live, the song is usually followed by "We Are the Champions," as they were designed to run together, which gave it that anthem feel, which makes sense. And then those two same songs were the last songs that Queen performed at Live Aid in 1985. Oh yeah, okay. And which is in the movie as well. And it's funny because now Halloween's coming upon us. I'm seeing a lot of Freddie Mercury looking costumes. Oh, sure. So these young, like kids, born in the getting back into Queen. I love it. I love it. Hey, whatever, because again, I don't know, I know you feel this way about, I grew up in a world in the 70s, 80s where we had a music education and it was there for everyone. And it's sad to hear that these programs are dwindling. Yeah. There's not a good, most schools still have a band, of some kind. Some of them have a choir. Yeah. But I don't know how much, even when we were kids though, I don't know how much popular or modern music came into play in those music classes that we were taking in school, even when they had them on a regular basis. Right. I personally learned popular music because of what my parents listened to. Exactly. So songs that come to me or give me that sort of feeling are things that we listened to in the car when we were on a road trip. So Willie Nelson on the road again, right? Yes. That's the kind of thing that my mom wants to always put in the car when we start on a road trip. So that comes back to me. And it's funny it's funny that my mom is actually now way into Queen again. Wow. I think she probably was back then, but now she's brought it back, and she's. Yeah. My mom also loves karaoke, and so she's been practicing a lot of Queen karaoke. And by the way, listeners, if you haven't heard Kristi's mom sing, she sings very well. She does. I've seen her perform. I'm using air quotes. Yeah. Before, and she can definitely hold a note. Oh, for sure. Yeah, all that musical talent totally skipped a generation. Oh no, come on. My aunt is quite musically talented as well, and my kids are. Yes. Me, not so much. Oh. But do not believe Kristi, because I've also seen Kristi sing and perform. She also can hold a note. So keep going. So yeah, it's certain songs you hear and you're like, it's like a warm sweater. It reminds you of that moment in your life, right? Yep. Yeah, it brings back that kind of cozy feeling. Yeah. But here's the thing that I think is cool about living in this modern age or whatever, right? So back when we were kids, and we had the radio. Right. That's all we had. That was how we experienced music. Right. And then tapes or whatever. Right. And if you were rich, or if you were rich, or your parents could afford cable, maybe MTV. Right. That's true. Yeah. Maybe. You might be able to watch MTV. Yeah. If you were allowed. Yeah. Or whatever.
But now we have Spotify, and we have streaming music, and we have iTunes, and all of these things. So I feel like my kids are exposed to such a wider range of music than I ever was as a kid. I mean, they know music. They know Queen.
Oh yeah, they do.
And they know they know stuff that now they bring music to me now because they're watching music on YouTube.
See? Well, I think I remember. So it was a birthday party for Kristi's husband. And the theme was dress up, I think, as 70s. Right?
Yeah, yes, because it was his 45th birthday.
45th, they're youngins. Mm-hmm. And I remember I came in as Isaac from The Love Boat.
Oh, yeah.
People were like, who is that? But I think one of your daughters sang, like, didn't she sing a Barbara Streisand song?
She might have.
It was, I think, from Funny Girl.
Oh, from Funny Girl.
Yes, the parade.
Yeah, Don't Rain on My Parade.
And I'm like, how does this little one know this song? So, yes, their repertoire is very big.
It is. Also, they get exposed to a lot of old show tunes and musicals because my mother-in-law and father-in-law live with us, and they love old show tunes and old musicals.
Yeah.
So they watch those with Grandma and Grandpa pretty frequently, and hear all those like Bye Bye Birdie and Funny Girl and what's that one with My Fair Lady.
Oh, My Fair Lady. I love that too.
So they've watched all those old ones too. So they've got quite a range of musical influence in their life.
Which is great for them, and hopefully they'll, when they hopefully have children someday, that they also pass that along too. Yeah. Because meeting a very young person, I'm not going to say the age, that knows like songs that are even like were older than even me, that I'm impressed. It's like your parents raised you very well.
Well, we're trying.
We're trying. So when I remember the song "We Will Rock You," I remember in two phases. One, watching it on Live Aid in 1985. So I was a mere 12, 13. So I'm old enough to understand the brevity of what this organization was about. And imagine people that don't know, that was a Bob Geldof. He came from Boomtown Rats. He wanted to help fund money. And this is back in 85. So we didn't have YouTube, and we didn't have social media. We didn't have Venmo. I mean, you literally had to call in, give your credit card on the phone, or send checks.
Yeah.
And they made millions of dollars, and they did it by these amazing performers like Queen and others that came to perform. And he rocked. And I think because of Queen being there, they, hit their number and then some. Because I think shortly after that he did die.
He did. Yeah, I think
after
he did
that,
pass away not too long after that. And I also think that, at least in the movie, they depicted that they weren't even sure that they wanted to do it. Like, he almost, it was kind of like he had to come out of semi-retirement or something to be able to go and do it. And everybody was like, you've got to do this. All the biggest names are doing this. And now it's sort of this real significant piece of history. I think because it was the last live performance for him.
And that's what, of course, found yourself as a blubbering idiot in the movie theater by myself with popcorn, because knowing the brevity of what was to come. And and what I love about the movie is it was his fiance for a moment, Mary. That is another love affair that I don't know if you guys fans know. Look it up on Wikipedia, Google it. He, till his dying day, left her everything.
Oh, wow.
He loved her so much, but he also knew that, that wasn't his sexual preference. Yeah. But she has his ashes or something.
Oh.
She has everything. And of course, she's very secretive, because I can imagine some people coming out of the woodwork.
I can't even imagine.
Even his lover at the end that he was with, that he died, with, he didn't hardly leave him anything. It was all to Mary.
Oh, wow. That's really interesting.
It's an interesting, thing between that they had those two. So that also made me a blubbering idiot. But I remember watching Live Aid back in
very sweet.
in 85. I was in my grandma's little apartment. She lived in this apartment, still there, Acola Apartments, down the street from now what's called Nike Worldwide Headquarters on Jenkins.
Yeah.
Yep.
I know right where that is.
Oh, yeah. That's where my grandparents lived. And I remember watching it and thinking, wow, this is so cool. That guy is, I knew kind of a Freddie Mercury, but not really. And the way he moved and how he commanded the crowd and his charisma. Everyone in, I think, Wembley Stadium was singing along, which I think is amazing.
Yeah.
But I felt like he was like the Pied Piper of rock. Right? Like anything he did. And I think he started the whole, I'm going to sing, you're going to sing back to me. Like that whole back and forth. I think he was one of the Unless you know otherwise.
I don't know if he was. You know, call and response is such a long held tradition, and with a lot of different kinds of music.
Yeah.
So you know, I wouldn't. He picked it up from somewhere. Undoubtedly, but. As far as like bringing it to a big like amphitheater or a stadium or something like that, that may be true, but I'm not sure. That's
a good point.
Yeah. Okay, so this is a total diversion.
No, it's okay. We like diversion.
So you're at your grandma's apartment. It's 1985, and you're over on basically Jenkins and Murray.
Yes, that's exactly
Boulevard.
It. Yes.
So I would have been over on 185th and Walker Road because we lived here at that time.
That's right, before you moved to California. So for all we know, we could have been
friends.
Exactly, and had no idea. Because there was a whole bunch of kids that always come, that lived in the apartment complex. We were always there. They had a pool, which I think now, that pool was probably very dirty. Oh. It was an indoor pool, and we, was just use it all the time. But it was a motley crew of kids that lived in that neighborhood or lived in that apartment complex. And I loved it, but I remember watching that. So for all we know, Kristi,
that's so interesting. Like, we could have encountered each other when we were kids.
But you're much younger than I'm 47. You're probably
I'm not that much.
Okay, I thought you were much younger than that.
No, I'll be 44 next month.
Still young.
We'll
still.
See.
So you're around the same age as Mr. Maynard, my friend. So,
right.
Okay.
Well, so I was 10 in 85.
So we definitely could have been.
Yep. Absolutely.
Well, it's still there, and
I probably saw you at the mall for sure.
For sure. At that time, it was called. It's now called Cedar Hill Crossing for the locals. Mm-hmm. Back then, it was just basic Beaverton Mall.
Yep.
Nothing fancy.
Nope. Mm-hmm.
And the fun fact number 3 there is, if you ever go to Beaverton Mall, aka now Cedar Hills Crossing, the only store that's left open from the Beaverton Mall is the T-shirt guy. He's the only one that has stayed.
That's so interesting. Isn't that funny? Well, of course, Nike was not there at the time.
No.
And when we lived over on 185th and Walker Road, now that's all Tannisport.
I know.
All the huge Tannisport shopping area.
Used to be fields.
None of that was there. Yeah, Absolutely. It was all fields. Yep.
And we would go to Tannisport Mall, the old one, where it had Sunshine Pizza.
Yes,
and
Sunshine Pizza Company. And the tiny little theater.
Yes.
And a cigarette vending machine. And that was it. That was the only things that were in there.
That's also the same time. Sorry, Chrissy. I won't give your last name. We went on her birthday party for Chrissy, and we left her. Her mom had the big station wagon, and I think she assumed, yep. And then we were like, oh, shoot, we left.
The birthday
or someone.
That's terrible.
And when we came back, the poor gal was on a payphone. Remember, it's the 80s.
Yeah.
Crying, calling.
Aww.
So it probably wasn't Chrissy, but it was Chrissy's birthday party. It was one of the patrons, and we're like, we're back.
Oh my goodness. That's hilarious that you remember that. That's amazing. I had no idea.
Sunshine Pizza.
How did this has not come up yet in our conversation?
Well, so that's why we need to have a podcast.
Yes.
to talk about it. And that's why, it was meant to be karaoke bar. Because if karaoke did not bring us together, this all would have...
I'm so grateful. Honestly, I've met so many really amazing people being a part of Rock Camp. It's just such a blessing. I feel so lucky to be a part of it. And there's so many people that are in our community that are doing really good work and are so supportive. We're very fortunate. So thank you.
Well, and it also helps that you guys are good people and that you definitely are passionate about what you do.
We are. We're very passionate about what we do. We feel like we're empowering youth. We're helping them to amplify their voice in the world and go out and change the world, because there's a lot that needs to be changed. And we are hoping that the little bit that we're doing is giving them the confidence that they can take up space and get loud and make change, and that they can do it knowing there's a community of support behind them. So I feel like our mission is really important, especially right now.
Well, and especially in a world where you need to have your voice heard, right?
Yeah.
I still even struggle. I'll be honest. I'm being of Asian descent. I'm Filipina, but I grew up in the Beaverton and Low area all my life, and even till now. And I've just talked about some certain friends. If you're listening, you're going to probably giggle. We had this conversation where I'm actually starting up another kind of one night show, but not for me. Maybe next year, because the first one we did was really successful. I want 7 amazing women to talk about whatever the theme is, but like how you're overcoming, bringing your voice. And what I want to call it is table, because we always talk about we want our seat at the table. And I'm saying,
Yeah.
well, why wait for the seat? Make our own goddamn table.
Yeah.
So that's what I want to call it.
That's fantastic. What a great idea.
So just heads up, everyone. I'll be putting something out there for looking for speakers that want to talk about, because it's going to be intimate. We want to know what you're overcoming or what you've overcome.
Oh, I love that.
So that's another thing that I'm passionate about, because again, we need to have that voice there.
That's fantastic.
And that's what I love about Rock and Roll Camp for Girls, because you're giving that chance for them to, have that voice heard.
Yeah.
So another thing I just want to bring back, so just when we were talking about, our 80s and maybe our connection. So I went to Aloha High School, which it's funny because it's in Aloha, Oregon, but we're not in Hawaii.
Yeah. And it's not pronounced aloha.
It's aloha, so you know that you're from it. So back to we will rock you, the stomp stomp clap, stomp stomp clap.
Yeah.
Of course, we did that in many of Aloha High School.
Oh yeah, I could
games.
hear it on those metal bleachers from high school,
which is perfect. But I remember back then, so just imagine that. Stomp, stomp, clap, stomp, stomp, clap. And the school, let's say Sunset, would come. Mm-hmm. We affectionately call them Scum Sweat, sorry. So they would come, and I have a lot of friends that listen to this. They would come and have their basketball game, and they would do that stomp, stomp, clap, stomp, and they would go, "We got spirit, yes we do. We got spirit, how about you?" And we were pretty clever, because we're like, oh, we're not playing this game, because it just goes back and forth, right?
It does, yeah.
So this is what we would do in a lot, and you guys will remember it, because I till this day I'm in my late 40s and I remember it. So when someone would do it, it's like, oh, here it is. We would not respond. They'd keep doing it to get you, and this is what we would do: stomp, stomp, clap, stomp, stomp, clap. We got spirit, just the same. Shut up, sit down, watch the game. And they would be like, oh.
Wow, that's very clever.
I don't know who figured it out.
Yeah.
Maybe Michael Johnson, who is also plays in town in many a bands. He also I think he's the drummer for the Journey cover.
Oh.
And he also is in a couple other 80s band, but I wouldn't be surprised if he put that together. But I just remember that chat, because it always would shut them down every time.
Yeah. There's not much you can do to respond to that. That's pretty good. I would have to ask Dax if they still chant that at the games.
So her husband's name is Dax. I love that name. He, ironically, after getting to know both Kristi and Dax, where he works at the high school I graduated from. So this is how small.
He teaches physics at Aloha High School.
Oh my! Sorry, Dax. I mean, if you don't mind, we're going to be talking about you. Yeah.
I would have gone to Aloha High School had we not moved to California in 1990.
That's right. Where you live, you're in the boundary.
Yep. So.
And just also let folks that know that are not from our world here, where the Nike World headquarters is. I mean, that's where it is.
Yep, that's the world headquarters.
When I went to junior high at Five Oaks,
Which is where I went to junior high. Oh my God. This is hilarious.
We would go on a bus and go to where the Nike World headquarters, because it was swampland essentially, and do our little samples for our science class. And I tell I feel like, back in my day, I would tell them that's what used to be here before Nike bought that whole area.
Well, there's the area that's right across from the campus. They've built up a nice walking path. Yeah. But the center of that walking path is still just a big swamp.
It is, but not everyone can be on that walking path.
Well, you have to be wearing Nike gear.
Exactly.
They look at you funny. Yes. And you're not supposed to be on there after dark if you're not a Nike employee. But otherwise, the public can walk on it.
How would they know that? Are you wearing a badge?
I honestly have no idea. I have no idea. But they do have little, security kids that go around on their little scooters.
I was just going to mention that, Kristi, because we've seen them. So if you guys ever seen any of the Hunger Games, they look like all the Hunger Games. They're all in white from head to toe on a white moped, and they look like the villains from Hunger Games. So every time my friend and I would run in our non-Nike wear, we're like, we got to hurry it up. The Hunger Games people are coming, you know.
Oh, my gosh. That's really funny. I never noticed that.
Yes, they are.
Huh, that's true. Yeah.
Well, this has been a delight. I'm so excited to now know that our paths may have crossed before, the karaoke.
It's kismet. We were meant to become friends.
And I'm excited about your guys' upcoming, it's October 16th?
October 19th.
Oh, 19th, sorry.
The AMP Awards.
Awesome.
Tickets are on sale still.
Okay.
I know, I'm not sure when this is going to air, but we have tickets available now. You can get them on the website.
Okay.
There's a VIP ticket or a main event ticket.
Okay.
There's even, if you can't do either one of those, the day of, if you want to just come and see who won the chance to sing with Staph Infection.
Yes.
You can pay $20 at the door and just get into the after party to see Staph Infection.
That is so cool and smart. How cool is that?
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, so again, I'll have the info and links on the show notes, guys. So if you want to help be either a part of it, volunteer, give money if you can't make it to
come to the karaoke
contest. Perform at the karaoke contest. Please help out because it's a great organization. And thank you again for coming.
Thanks, Mel. This was fun.
Awesome.